Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tommy. I'm a human nutrition student and researcher at the university. What I do in this type of videos is to synthesize what I learned during the classes at the university, and then I explain and teach you the best and most valuable information you need to know. This is the Dietetics series of videos, and today we're going to continue this series by talking about diet assessment. So how we can evaluate the diet of an individual. So let's begin. So here we have the dietary surveys and the dietary indicators. We are going to start with the surveys. The goals of the surveys are nutritional, economic, social, and toxicological. Nutritional is that we need to find groups with nutritional risk, relation between health and the food consumption, and we use them as a base for nutrition education programs. In the economic social, how resources are distributed and different diets by social group. And toxicological, know the intakes of harmful substances. The uses we can give to dietary surveys are nutritional status assessment, indeed, dietary programming, monitoring of population groups, experimental research, nutritional epidemiology, and many more, but these are the main ones. And today we're going to talk about mainly the nutritional status assessment aspect. How to work with them, how to work with the dietary surveys. Well, first we need to actually do the dietary survey. Then, after the survey, we have an idea about the food consumption. Using the food composition tables, we get the nutrient intake. And then, with the dietary guidelines, we compare the nutrient the individual eats with the guidelines, and we find the quality of the diet as a percentage of the recommended daily intake. The assessment of a diet is not easy at all. There are imperfect techniques, non-accurate databases and tables, diet complexity of the individual, behavior changes when observed, because you're not going to eat the same amount of food when you know you are being watched and you're being analyzed. You're going to put a little bit less and you are more conscious of what you're doing, and it's not a reflection of the reality. Methods for the dietary surveys. We have different types here. Methods are, for example, the national, the family, and the individual. This is based on who is the target. It can be indirect or direct, the way in which we gather the information, and it can be also prospective or retrospective. One, it means that it's right now, and the other one is based on the past. Now let's talk about the diet methods to the individual. We have the prospective ones. These are registration at the time of consumption. One type is the weighing food registration. Here you have to weigh everything you put in your mouth. Advantages: it is precise and easy. Disadvantages: it interferes with normal diet and it takes at least 3 to 5 days to registration. Then we have the food diary, which is where we write down everything we eat at a certain time using weighing or homemade measures. Advantages: it's quite easy. Disadvantages: modifies normal diet. Few days of annotations are needed and no clear portions, since we are using also homemade measures. And then we have the duplicate diet method. So here you prepare the double of the food you eat. You eat one and the other one goes to the lab for the analysis. This is very precise and quite easy as well. And the disadvantages are the high cost, a lot of time for the analysis. It can take up to 5 days. It is non-practical and interferes with the normal diet. It's because in these two, we don't do the analysis, we use the food composition tables. Whereas here, we do the analysis of all the foods. Then we have the retrospective, which are based on memory. Frequency of consumption. You have to mark food groups consumption in the last month. For example, 1 to 3 times per week, never, 1 to 3 times per day. And this with every food group. The advantages: it is very fast, self-applicable, and it has a long-term evaluation. Disadvantages: relies on memory, and it's not precise for caloric estimation. The 24-hour reminder. This is an interview with a professional. Important it is. And the professional asks information on quantities, preparation, ingredients, and brands, and this has to be repeated more than 1 day. The advantages: it's quite fast, there is no diet modification, and it's cheap. Disadvantages: relies on memory, not precise, and not representative day. So that's why we have to repeat it multiple times. And then we have the dietary history, which is basically a combination of these two, plus some specific questions on the topic. For example, if a person is an athlete, well, to ask about that. And then we have the new technologies. These are, for example, digital assistants, laptops with software that record self-consumption, an image-assisted assessment to estimate the portions, smartphones, the MyFitnessPal app, photography meals for later analysis, interactive programs, surveys with images, storytelling, etc., and then also scanning technologies such as barcodes. Indeed, we can summarize this as the MyFitnessPal app, and this video is not sponsored. Advantages: faster and cheaper. Disadvantages: some programs can be complicated and it's not available for everyone, especially older people. Then we have the indirect methods. These are for the population. We have the household, which is basically a consumption and expenditure for families. We have the sample unit, which can be either a family, which is heterogeneous, or a collective, which is homogeneous. Time: 1 week, or the equivalent of a full menu cycle for the collectives. What do we do here? We have to calculate the food availability per capita. We have to weigh everything in the pantry before and after the analysis, after the survey, quantify what is bought and what is thrown away, and divide the food available by the number of family collective members. And then there are the household budget surveys. So basically, how can you affect the food availability per capita based on the budget you have as a family? The problem with these surveys is that they do not take in account the consumption outside the house. But there is this MAPA consume panel that it takes in account the consumption outside the house. And this is applicable to Spain. On a national level, well, we have the balance sheets for the consumption trend. Basically, every year there is this equation going on. The inflows, the production and imports of food, minus the outflows, the exports and the losses. That equals the available food in tons per meter. And that is what the country has per number of people. As you can guess, the way of doing these things is very inaccurate, since it is based on an homogeneous way of dealing with the numbers, whereas the sample unit is heterogeneous, or the whole population cannot be treated as equals, since there are a lot of differences in the individuals, because it's not the same the diet and the amount of food that a child eats and the amount of food that a sport athlete eats. So why do they do these balance sheets? For orienting the production to the needs. And then there is also the per capita calorie availability of the country and the food safety policies that they have to follow. Moving on, we have the dietary indicators. So we have two types here, the dietary quality indicators and the healthy lifestyle indicators. The dietary quality indicators, there are several of them, and they are divided in colors because this in green is for the nutrient related, whereas the one in orange is related to the food. And those ones in white are a combination of both. Starting with the first one, it has 8 components, which are basically food groups, and there is a score between 0 and 16. And it has a negative correlation. It means that more points equals less quality of the diet. Then there is also the revised dietary quality indicators, which are 10 components, and the score is from 0 to 100. And this has a positive correlation. So more points equals better quality of the diet. Then we have the healthy diet indicator, and this gives either 0 points, which it means that the value is out of the range, or 1 point when it's inside the range. And it has a positive correlation, so more points equals a healthy diet. Healthy eating, these are 10 components. The score goes from 0 to 100. There is a positive correlation here as well. So more points equals a healthier way of eating. And then we have the alternative healthy eating indicators. These are 9 components. The score goes from 0 to 90, and there is a negative correlation. So more points equals less inflammation, and therefore it's a good thing. So more points indeed will be healthier, but they are an indicator of less inflammation. So it's a negative perspective. Then we have the Med Diet Score, MDS, which are 8 characteristic components of the Mediterranean diet. It gives either 0 or 1 point, and it has a positive correlation, so more points, healthier. Then there is the Modified Med Diet Score, which includes the fish, remove the dairy, and split the fruit from the nuts. It gives either 0 or 1 point, and the positive correlation between points and a healthy way of eating. Then we have the Mediterranean Diet Quality Indicator. This is a score between 0 and 14. The points are 0, 1 or 2. And it has a negative correlation. So higher score equals lower Mediterranean diet quality. And indeed, if you eat a lot of olive oil and a lot of fish, you will get lower points. And that's good, because the lower the points, the better quality of the diet. And last but not least, we have the Med Diet Adherence, MEDAS. These are 12 questions over frequency of consumption, plus 2 over the intake habits. The score is from 0 to 14, and there is a positive correlation. So more points equals better Mediterranean diet adherence. So you have to know that all these indicators are basically some tests, some questions that they put you. They are basically surveys in which you are going to tell how your diet is, and based on that they will give you some points. An example will be, how many milligrams of cholesterol do you eat? I don't know. That's why there are surveys for estimating that. Let's say you go over 300 milligrams of cholesterol, which is on top of the limit, because the limit is 300 per day, more or less. You go over that. Based on these indicators, you will get a point. Normally it's between 0 and 2. Some of them, as you can see, are 0 or 1. And after doing the same thing with the other components, one component was cholesterol, another component can be amount of proteins, and another one amount of saturated fat, let's say. And once you have finished with them all and told the quantities, you will have a score. And based on that score, you will have an indicator of the quality of your diet. On the other hand, we have the healthy lifestyle indicators. So these were for the diet, and these are for life, for the lifestyle. Mediterranean lifestyle, it gives either 0 or 1 point. The score goes from 0 to 28. There are 15 questions of consumption, 7 of the Mediterranean habits and physical activity, and 6 of sleep and social habits. And there is a positive correlation, so more points equals a better Mediterranean lifestyle. Then we have the health indicator, which goes from 0 to 5 points each component of these: fruits and veggies, fish, fiber-rich foods, sodium, sugar drinks, exercise and stress. And these are related to cardiovascular health as well. The score is from 0 to 10, and more points equals a healthier lifestyle indeed. So here there is a quick recap. We ask some questions, then the answers will give us the indicators. The indicators will tell us about the food types, food groups, the amounts, and the frequency. All of these things can be converted into nutrients using the food composition tables. And we have an idea of the nutrients of the diet of the individual. And then we compare that to the recommendations to indeed complete the assessment. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you understood everything I said. If you didn't, there's a comment section down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video to your friends and family. You can find this diagram in the description down below by clicking in the first link. You can download it for free. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao!